I'd been working the case for 6 months, trying to feel what the old, wizened veteran had called the true battlefield, trying to capture some of that dramatic magic, the sound of trumpets, jets majestically soaring through the skies. All trails had led me here. Conquest, 64 players, high ticket counts, Caspian border. The match started well, like all my leads have. All the vehicles in the base were gone, and people were already getting mad in chat. I began the long run to the first flag, wondering if things might have been different that day, had maybe a jeep waited in spawn for one more passenger. The long, lonely run to the checkpoint at Point Bravo reminded me of the road that had led to this point. It had been a long, tiring one. 7, 8 months down the line, and I was still searching. Still searching for the true battlefield. I knew it had to be in here somewhere. I'd been hoping to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. To record the next part of my Meet the Weapon YouTube series using the ACWR. The match had only just begun, and my team were spreading out, capturing points. I thought it would be a good, clean run. I'd be able to get a good gameplay in and upload the video. Somewhere in the background, a cat was meowing, a warning of things to come. As I arrived at Bravo, I saw it was under attack by a legion of enemy tanks. I took fire from a distant hilltop. I was worried, but not overly concerned. After all, this team had won with flying colors in the last match, and I was sure that we'd pull through this time. I just had to try and hold out at the checkpoint until help could arrive. More shots rained down on me from the hilltop. I cowered, sipped my coffee, wondered what had gone wrong in my life to bring me to this godforsaken hellhole. This Caspian border. I didn't want to engage the tanks. I was more interested in my ACWR kills, but as an engineer it was my duty. I had to help the team. I had to help the team guard the points and do everything I could not to let my enemy gain an advantage in the ticket count so early on. I trusted my teammates to do the same, not noticing, as I was caught up in the action, that we had already lost the other 4 points, that I was the only one holding our one surviving objective. I trusted my teammates. I was a fool. It was with a grim satisfaction that I claimed my first ACWR kill. Yes, I thought I had a good feeling about this one. The gameplay would be solid, and maybe I'd discover the joys of the true battlefield. Maybe finally the long, dark tunnel of the case that had led me here was coming near to an end. Maybe it was almost time for me to go home. I still hadn't fully grasped what I was getting myself into, but soon I would start to understand. Soon. I'd been shot in the back before, betrayed by partners countless times. I didn't think anything of it. I still had hopes and dreams, and I thought we had this. I looked at the map and I saw that things were going poorly, but the match had only just begun. I knew my team would pull through in the end. After all, they were the only one I had, and I had to trust them. Fighting the tank alone, I looked at my minimap and realized that what few teammates I had in my vicinity were falling fast, and seeing the distant blue Doritos off on the horizon told me that most of my team was in our base, victims of some kind of strange agoraphobia. It wasn't the first time I'd been sniped, but the marksman's lack of a weapon mocked me. I respawned, bitter taste in my mouth. I began to suspect that things weren't all as they appeared. Some of my teammates had gone for a flanking maneuver, were capturing the gas station of Echo. I thought maybe we had a chance, but The smattering of blue would soon be wiped out. My base was still where most of the population was. I thought about base rape. It was something I'd experienced as a child, and again, many times as an adult. A terrible experience, to be sure, but I wondered about the cause and effect. Were we base raped because we had no flags? Or did we have no flags because we were base raped? Whose fault was it, really? The man's name was a reference to Treyarch, publishers of Call of Duty games and other assorted blasphemies. I knew that he didn't understand the true battlefield. I didn't think any of them did, but I spawned over at Echo. I just wanted to hold on to the 1 point we had left, hoping that maybe we could make a comeback, come in from behind, hit them where they didn't expect it. The forest was a mask of shadows and sunlight, and I couldn't see my enemy's shapes shifting in the darkness, but I knew they were there. A muzzle flash lighting up the shadows, giving away his position. I claimed another ACWR kill, and I thought to myself, maybe there's some hope for this gameplay. Maybe yet I can make something of this. Maybe yet I will be able to put up my next Meet the Weapon video on time. I regretted that I couldn't play Assault while using the weapon that I had been issued. I wanted to save them. I wanted to save all of them, but I don't think it would have mattered anyway. No. I did all I could do, and there's no point feeling guilty about it now. When the spot marker disappeared, I thought he hadn't seen me. He had run down the hill, but I was wrong. Blasted apart by an awkward teenage boy with an MG36. I wondered his dance moves. Again, we tried to hold the gas station, despite my enemy's vicious attacks and my own team's lack of morale, lack of the will to fight, already sapped from them by the way the game had been going so far, which wasn't good. I'd seen teammates a few times, out of the corner of my eye, flitting in shadows, but I still wondered if they were making any kind of concerted push without me back at the base, or if they were just sitting there, getting mad in the chat that I had hidden. As much as I didn't want to admit it, I had to assume the latter. That my comrades in arms had become weak, their will to fight sapped from their bodies, and that now they screamed cries of unfair as enemy jets bombed them from above, not knowing that all they had to do was actually just leave the base and everything would be fine. Later I would try to show them the way, try to show them the light when we had lost everything, but most were too weak to follow by that time. It was too late. Spawning into bullets, I was pretty fucking mad, I have to admit. That's pretty much all I felt. A cold, burning rage. Speckles of red flaring in the corners of my vision. I saw one of my squad mates making a valiant effort to attack Alpha. He was by himself, and I knew that if I helped him, surely we could capture A. Most of the enemy's forces must have been diverted, trying to take Echo back from my teammates. We had a chance, a shot, an opportunity. I cursed my lack of optics, as the gunner on the distant hilltop evaded my bullets time and time again. But this was the recording I had chosen to make. It had led me any closer to finding the true battlefield. I wondered if maybe it had. I'd know the answer by the end of the match. That much was certain. One way or another, I was going to find what I had come for. The battlefield experience that they had foretold, that the prophets had spoken of. I felt good, capturing the antenna. We had nothing. We had lost the gas station, but perhaps the diversion had bought us some time. Time to capture the antenna. As I looked around the inside, I wondered if I had configured my brightness settings correctly yet. The contrast in this game was pretty fucked up. As the T-90 defeated me, I Wondered how it had seen me in the darkness, but then realized that it had just driven straight up to the building and pretty much destroyed the entire wall. A strong strategy, and I couldn't blame the man. We were capturing B, it looked like, and my squad mate was still making an attack on Alpha. If standing in an open field doing nothing could be called an attack at least. It was the best I've got, and I was sad when the sniper killed him. But I kept moving, knowing that as long as I didn't stand perfectly still in the open field, the snipers on the other team would have almost no chance of ever hitting anything, let alone my face. My radar showed me enemies from all directions, surrounding me, flanking me. I prepared myself to meet them, but the attack didn't come from where I expected. Still, as I claimed the ACWR kill, I yet wondered if maybe the gameplay could be salvaged. I mean, there were still 300 tickets left. There was plenty of time, I thought. The tank I had sought was gone, and my SMAW fell on deaf support players, gunning me down from the hip with an M240B. My squad mate had become a recon player. The horrors of war simply too much for him. They had damaged his mind beyond salvation. Recon syndrome was a serious problem in Battlefield 3. Players who had experienced the horrors of war to such an extent that they had received massive, traumatic brain damage would never be able to become operating members of society again. No one ever recovered from recon. Nobody. We had nothing left now, just our base. It seemed like a few of my teammates were trying to fan out across the map, trying to capture something. I observed that my teammate had used the Jeep to drive closer to where the jets would spawn, and then got the fuck out of there. I was happy. He was in the gunner's seat, and I managed to collect a support player on the way. There were 3 of us, and other teammates too, making a push. The first concerted effort I'd seen by my team, vehicles, infantrymen, all of us heading towards A, making a desperate pull for the objective. I was ready. I was ready. Ready to kill. The voice on the radio told me it was the final stretch. We'd lost all the objectives. I already knew it. But I was trying to solve the situation, damn it. I was trying to claim A. As the man gunned me down, I wondered what had happened to my backup in the Jeep, wondered where they had gone, and I saw the recon player in my squad off in the distance, running towards a rocky hilltop, probably never planning to move again. He had no situational awareness. The brain damage had taken full control, and he wasn't aware of the man trying to stab him, nor the guy shooting him from the left. I tried to save him, but I was too late. He was dead the moment he picked the recon kit. Tanks and enemy infantry, and I was the only one here. I wondered what had happened to all the other teammates who were driving in this direction, the other Jeep, the armored vehicle, the infantrymen. I wondered what had become of them, but all I knew was that they were gone and I was dead. It was time once again to return to my base. My teammates seemed to have lost all hope, or perhaps suffered from some kind of fear of leaving their home. They milled around the base, confused, disoriented, wondering why they held no objectives, wondering what was happening. Another recon player boarded my Jeep. I was scared, but it was all I had. I drove around the base, trying to find somebody else to ride with me, another member of my team, to try and capture an objective, to give us hope, but nobody got in, and I couldn't stay there anymore. The enemy jets were coming around for another pass. Our teammates surely believing that there was no escape from the base with those jets, but not realizing that really, seriously, all you had to do, guys, was get in some Jeeps and jive the fuck away. Hell, you might have even been able to get a tank out. Plus, we had 2 AA guns, so I'm not even sure. They could have got Stingers or something, but whatever. And it was then that I realized this game was going to claim my life. I would never survive again to see the sweet, sickly scent of another game, another field of battle, another happy video game memory. I realized that this was my destiny. Forever, one man against many, battling as hard as I could, while my teammates, I don't even know, guys. I just don't even know anymore. The unlock rung through my screen with a meaningless pang of meaninglessness. It didn't mean anything. That's what I'm trying to indicate. I just didn't care anymore. I've been trying to get all the unlocks for the ACWR as well, but as the RPG blew me apart, I knew that wouldn't happen. I saw that I was second on my team, and I broke a little inside. I had been having such a terrible game. I thought, surely at least my other teammates were racking up kills, getting a decent score, but no. No, none of them had done anything. My squad mate was trying to recover from recon syndrome. He had become an engineer by profession, but I sensed that the recon was still in his brain, still eating away at his soul, still destroying his will to fight. I got in another jeep. I tried to seek a passenger, somebody to join me in my battle. I hoped, dreamed, and once again was rewarded when my squad mate joined me, but no others would mount up, waiting instead for a helicopter that would never come, that would be destroyed by a jet immediately, instead of trying to do anything at all. He fired at nothing, the recon infecting his brain, causing him to completely lose control of his life. We drove off towards A, although I didn't have much hope, and then I saw a scope went down a hill, and I knew. I knew as I crushed that man who refused to move as the Growler ITV drove towards him, who missed me with every shot even though I was barely moving, as the javelin exploded my life, and my teammates stared on feebly from our base. I knew that I had found what I had sought. This is the true battlefield experience. It is, and always has been. I had flashbacks. 1942, Vietnam, Battlefield 2. It was all the same. Chucklefucks, hiding in a base, recon players sitting on hilltops, people queuing for jets and helicopters that were ultimately meaningless. None of it mattered. None of it meant anything. Bad Company 2 was the same. It had always been this way. I just wanted to believe that something different would happen, something... that there was something more. That the true battlefield that the grisly old veterans had spoken of was true, was out there somewhere waiting to be found, but then I knew. It had been a lie. The game was rigged from the start, and javelins exploded my life time and time again as my mind exploded with the realization that this game was made to infuse self-hatred. It was made for people who don't give a fuck. And it was at that point that I realized that maybe I shouldn't get so mad all the time. I mean, it's just a video game. Maybe I could just have some fun. But that was stupid. What could be more serious? What could be more important? I thought about opening the chat window, yelling about base-raping hackers, spilling obscenities and racial slurs until somebody gave a fuck, but I'd lost my will even to do that. I'd lost my will completely. And yet I knew that tomorrow I'd be back, hunting again, forgetting what I had learned, and I wondered how many times this had happened. How many times I'd discovered the true battlefield and forgotten. My teammate was driving the Jeep and had decided the most effective way was to sit outside of A and just let me kind of shoot off at them in the distance without actually being able to kill anyone. His strategy was fucking stupid, but it was true that it didn't matter anymore. It was too late. We only had 4 tickets left, the enemy over 400. My time was at an end, and my teammate got out for no reason as I ascended to heaven. It was over.